Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joan, and today's video is a special video. This video will serve in a 3-part series detailing what I watched, read, and listened to in 2020. Today's video is all about film and television. I gotta open my laptop for my notes. We adjusted the setup a little bit, so now I'm not like leaning on the wall, but my feet are just straight up chilling on the tripod, and I love it. So honestly, but Miss Roro sticking up the place a little bit. I've honestly just been watching a lot of Law & Order SVU. Like, I watched Law & Order SVU 2 or 3 times over. I lied. At least twice over in quarantine, and then another time in the past semester. It's such a great comfort show. But besides that, I have been tuning into some new ones, some oldies, and I just want to share that with you. So I'm really excited to share it with you. I meant to put this in my music video, but disclaimer, these are all my opinions, my perspective, anything like that, so please don't come for me in the comments. It's just my opinion. Without further ado, here's my top 25 films and television shows of 2020. The first film I'm going to talk about is Brittany Runs a Marathon. Now, this actually came out in late 2019, but I don't know what it was in like January. I was just going through an Amazon kick one night, and I watched this and, oh, not Game Night. It was the movie starring Mindy Kaling. Late Night, that's what it is. What I like about Brittany Runs a Marathon is that as someone who has as someone who has struggled with weight gain, weight loss, and the whole thing of being plus size, it was very interesting to see like an older woman, yeah, like in their late 20s just get their like stuff together and like push themselves, and they're very determined to run a marathon. And honestly, when Brittany got through that finish line, I cried. Okay, this movie made me cry. Spoiler alert, this is not the first movie, this is not gonna be the last movie that has made me cry this year. Also, it was very funny, but in a relatable way. It wasn't like try hard funny. All right, second movie is Olivia. So, am I supposed to say directors? I don't know. I already wrote the script, I don't got time for that anymore. Basically, Olivia was a movie that we watched in my classic French cinema class last spring semester. I don't know if I can say this lightly, but this film definitely made me question my sexuality, like a lot. It's very interesting because this movie is about an all-girl school in France in the early 1900s. Basically, there is this headmistress that everyone is in love with, a little too much if you ask me, and this new girl named Olivia who comes and is just whisked away by the headmistress. Now, the headmistress has a second in command who's hidden in the back, who got drama, okay? Man, let me tell you, these girls fight over this woman. Also, the phallic imagery, it was too much. But you know, I love melodrama. I love it. This film definitely serves you up a plate. So if you like, if you like French films that have melodrama in it and is a period piece, this one's definitely for you. Next one is Parasite. By this point, if you haven't seen Parasite, it costs $2.99 to rent on YouTube. And if you have Hulu, it's on Hulu. Okay, this movie is crazy. The midpoint goes hard. I was on the edge of my seat. Now, the funny thing is that when I watched Parasite, I watched it the week before the Oscars, because the Oscars were on my birthday this year, so I had an Oscars watch party. Oh my god, that sounds so nerdy. Anyway, basically I watched it, and then the Oscars happened, and Parasite Bong Joon-ho came and claimed his awards and left. And then for a movie night, I think in like early March, I'm like, hey guys, we have to watch this film. So I was the only one that knew what was going on, and everyone was watching, and it was just like a roller coaster just of emotions of my friends just figuring out what's going on. It was quite funny because my stepsister and her best friend were like, oh, we don't want to watch the movie with subtitles, but then by the time that midpoint hit, they were invested, and I'm like, yeah, because it's a good film. Bong Joon-ho really outdid himself with this one. All right, next one is a simple comfort movie, The Devil Wears Prada. Now, this movie is the first movie I've ever seen with Meryl Streep when I was like 11, 12. I don't know what it is about this movie, but it's just comforting. Like, it's just so comforting. And I don't know if it's the whole like post-grad journey, trying to find your place in the world, or just having to deal with a boss who is very, very particular and also low-key a and doesn't care about anyone else, is relatable to me. Like, that part's relatable. The fashion looks are very, I don't even want to say dated, more like it's like timeless, but some of these pieces, hoo-wee. The comedy is gold, and nothing will ever beat Miranda's introduction scene with everyone going crazy in the office with Stanley Tucci. Guard your loins. Like, that's the best line ever. Next thing that I watched this year was Fleabag. Now, I'm late on the Fleabag train, okay? Please forgive me. And I remember, I'm rearranging myself, sorry. And I remember watching the Emmys, and Fleabag literally swept everything. And I'm like, you know, I feel like I gotta watch. And I started watching it, and the first 2 episodes were very slow for me. But by the time that episode 8 finale came, I was hooked. And then when I watched season 2, and that first episode, I watched it because I was watching with my boyfriend, and like we were supposed to watch it together, but he was taking too long, so I'm like, I'm gonna watch it without you. So then he just started watching season 2 with me, and I'm like, well, I watched episode 1 yesterday, but I'm gonna watch it again because it was hilarious. It was so funny. And also Hot Priest. Next thing I watched was Widows, again another comfort movie. Now I watched Widows like 3 or 4 times in quarantine, and it's only because I checked it out from the library, and then Miss Roro stepped into the chat, and I had all these DVDs that I checked out, and so I'm like, well, the libraries are gonna be closed for a while, I'm gonna watch this movie. And I love Widows. Widows is a fantastic movie. Viola Davis killed it, and it's great to see a character kind of like Annalise Keating, take charge, even though she was very insecure. I think the heist drama mixed with the political drama worked really well, and I really liked it. Daniel Kaluuya was in it, and he was a convincing bad guy, even though I will never not see him as the character from Johnny English Reborn. Like, that's my defining role for him, and it's so funny because like it's easily not his best role, but it's his funniest role. I don't know, it just sticks with me. But also with my girls Cynthia, Elizabeth, and Michelle, the supporting cast was amazing. And if you have not seen Widows, if you like a heist film with a little bit more substance, Widows is definitely for you. All right, next one is Popstar Never Stop Never Stopping. This is easily one of the best mockumentaries ever made. If you know The Lonely Island, then you honestly already know this work. Like, pretty much parodies the whole music industry with like the band being together, one person goes solo, the other person goes the out of nowhere, and then the third person kind of caught in the middle, low-key. And I'm telling you, this movie is comedic gold. Like, when I saw the trailer for this, I didn't know if it was real or not, but when I watched it, I just thought, why is no one talking about this film? This film is hilarious. And I watched it once, and I told my boyfriend, I'm like, you're gonna love this film, we're gonna watch it. We watched it, we loved it. Watched it again, watched it a 3rd time. This movie's hilarious. I love this movie. If you like The Lonely Island, go watch Popstar Never Stop Never Stopping. All right, the next one I have is Clouds of Sils Maria. I had to watch this again for my classic French cinema class. I was not disappointed, okay? Easily one of Kristen Stewart's best performances, if not the best. Kristen Stewart is very nuanced in this role. I'm gonna sneeze. Anyway, she is very nuanced in this role, and she basically plays an assistant to an actress who is preparing for a theater role that she previously was in when she was younger, but now as the older character. They have a lot, the two of them are just fluid with their dialogue because they're essentially reading the play and practicing, but like what Kristen Stewart's character does is that she makes the actress like question the woman's motives and how it relates to her own history and whatever, and it's so captivating. It's just captivating, and it's like honestly almost a 2-hour conversation, but like it's done really well. It's done really well. This movie is great. If you are really convinced that Kristen Stewart sucks, also she's gonna come back again. She's gonna come back again. All right, next film is Divines, which I had to watch for my classic French cinema class because I can't get enough of it. And this film is basically about a poor girl who lives on the outskirts of Paris, and she's trying to get out of the hood and make money. And she gets like captivated by this female drug dealer and starts working for her. Now, her and her best friend Fatima, the way that the movie opens is that it's basically their Snapchat story. So they're doing a whole bunch of shit, you know, like best friend shit. And it reminded me so much of my best friend Mel, and we watched it together actually, and it's really interesting because like Duana, the main character, was really dead set on getting out. This film really just kind of like brings up that duality, or just like that other side of like what a person really is, what they're willing to do to get out of their situation. And the end made me cry. It made me cry because it was unexpected, and it still makes me upset. But Divines is definitely a good one to watch. It is a good one. Right, next thing I watched was a miniseries, Little Fires Everywhere. The miniseries this year were coming in clutch. Like, it's quite fascinating when looking at the Emmy nomination for best miniseries, because I mean, Little Fires Everywhere, Mrs. America, Unorthodox, Watchmen, and there was another one I watched, I just can't remember, but it was so stacked. And Little Fires Everywhere was definitely a one that caught me off guard. Okay, the promos, Reese and Carrie killed it. Anna Sophia Robb is in this as a younger Reese Witherspoon character, and she's good. She kind of came out of nowhere for me, but I'm like, okay, Anna Sophia, get your coin, okay? But yeah, this is also a good viewpoint of race relations. Ohio in the 90s, because it takes place in Shaker Heights, and Shaker Heights are supposed to be like beyond racism or past racism. But it was a good film. It was a good miniseries. I was captivated from start to end. I was there every week. And if you just need a short little show with drama and you miss Kerry Washington or Reese Witherspoon and anything, please go watch that. Okay, next show that I watched was The Wire. I finally watched The Wire because I literally heard The Wire for the last couple of years. As people say, it's literally one of the best crime shows. It's one of the best shows, period. Was one of the best written shows. So I'm like, I'm gonna watch it because I had access to HBO Max. And I was not disappointed. I do genuinely think that The Wire is probably the best serialized cop/crime drama ever made. Is it the best show? We'll see. But at least in that genre, I think it's the best. To take the city of Baltimore and then truly mold it into its own character and explore the systems of every single thing when it comes to education, the docs, police work, politics, like, and then still have new characters and have old characters and still integrate with each other. Beautifully done, beautifully. And season 4 is my favorite, honestly, because of the group of boys, and it gives me coming of age vibes because I'm a sucker for coming of age films. Like, I love them, and they were giving me that vibe. So that's my favorite season. But yeah, it's very raw, and I definitely see myself revisiting it in the future. All right, the next one I watch is I Am Not Your Negro, which is I think the only documentary on here. And this was right in the height of June when the Black Lives Matter movement was again the resurgence, and it was powerful more than ever, and a lot of people had a lot of different movies, books, talks, things to watch, and this was on my list, and I watched it on Amazon, and I was actually blown away. Like, I've honestly never heard James Baldwin. All I know is that he wrote If Only Beale Street Could Talk. I know that. The way that he took the figures of MLK and Malcolm X and Medgar Evers and just recontextualized them in a new perspective for the modern age, it's just, I don't know how he did it, but he did it. I thoroughly was very captivated by his words. Raoul Peck is the director, and his integration with Baldwin's words and clips from the Black Lives Matter movement from the past decade really just, it makes it even more compelling. It really just puts it in a new light that nothing has really changed. Genuinely, if you want to learn more about like the history of why movements like this matter, or why the Black Lives Matter movement matters, or who these figures really were, then definitely watch this film. This film is really one to watch. It's really good, it's captivating, and you will learn a lot. Okay, next miniseries that I watched was Watchmen. It's on my reading list for next year because I've never seen the movie by Zack Snyder, which, you know, I've heard mixed reviews, okay? And it was another series that was like kind of complemented by the BLM movement. Regina King really was the best thing about the show, and she deserved her Emmy. I knew she was gonna win that Emmy because I knew she did her thing in that show. And I think the story about identity and morals in a lawless world, it just hit too close to home. But I think it was very interesting to watch because to take superheroes and still kind of like revamp them, it is very The Boys. If you've seen The Boys on Amazon, it's kind of like that. It's just that thing is different, but it's very similar, and it's like in a similar vein. I think this is also a really good companion piece to I'm Your Negro. Cinematography, beautiful, direction, beautiful, acting, beautiful. Everything about this show was amazing, and this was it. This was the other limited series in the category. See, it was stacked, like stacked. All right, next film is Blind Spotting. This film caught me off guard. You know, I've heard about Blind Spotting, you know, Daveed Diggs doing his thing or whatever. But then I watched it because it was free, because of the Black Lives Matter, you know, complimentary things to watch. This movie was low-key a bop, and it was honestly a bottle movie too, because it only takes place in 3 days, and it's in Oakland only. I mean, I guess every film is like a bottle film, but like people go to other places, but like it was only, I feel like in like max, like 5-6 different locations. Like it felt like a bottle episode to me. I think what I liked about it is that Daveed Diggs plays a felon who is on his last 3 days of probation, and his best friend is kind of doing some illegal It's like doing stuff that he doesn't really consider the consequences for Daveed's character. And in the third act, he like raps to him how he feels, and like I got chills, like literally chills. I can't explain it. And the comedy in this film just hit right. It just hit right. You should watch Blind Spotting. All right, next film is Charlie's Angels from 2019. Yes, Kristen Stewart is back, okay? Who said this movie was bad? I just want to start with that, because this movie was not that bad. It was pretty good in my opinion. And yes, I do admit, you know, it was a little bit on the nose about, you know, all women do their best and kind of like men, but like also kind of like low-key men. But I mean, This part is directly for Kristen Stewart. Kristen Stewart, if you ever have come across this video, first of all, I love your work. Second of all, I defend you. In any case when people say that Twilight is the only reason why you suck, when I have watched your discography, I have been a fan since Panic Room, Speak, Catch That Kid, The Messengers. I've been a fan, okay? You look great at Cannes. I would love to talk to you. Anyway, I don't know who books your jobs. I don't know if you book them. I don't know if you got an agent. I don't know if you got two or three people. But just as a fan, I really hope you do more action roles. Like, you really killed it in this movie. You did your thing. You did your stunts. You were out here looking fine as hell. I just hope you would consider more action movies, because I know you would kill them. Also, I hope you stick around for the rest of this video. But yes, Kristen Stewart, if you ever watch this, that is the only thing that I just want you to consider. Obviously, you don't have to take anything that I say because you don't know about me. You don't know who I am. All you know is I'm just a fan and I just make a suggestion. And I understand that. Back to my review. These action sequences were fun as hell, okay? The outfits in this film were to die for, and Naomi Scott is very cute. I've been a fan of her since Lemonade Mouth 2. Whoever said this movie's bad, I don't know why. Alright, the next thing on my list is Insecure, season 4. Man, the season was crazy. Mom was kind of low-key annoying, and Andrew was the best, and she fully ruined that. I think she ruined that. Issa and Lawrence getting back together is still kind of up in the air for me. It's kind of a big, for me, but I don't know how I feel about it. Issa growing confidence is probably the best thing about the season, and it's something that I relate to. I enjoyed that. And also Issa and Molly's friendship, like, kind of going down the drain, was also very entertaining to watch. And I can't wait for season 5. I can't wait for the Condola pregnancy trauma. Okay, that's all I gotta say about that. Next thing I watched, one of my favorite things I watched this year was Fat Girls. Now, we do not accept Monique slander in this house. Fat Girls was the first film that I've ever seen that kind of prioritized a plus-size black woman as a lead role and actually explored the effects of the fashion industry and body confidence, self-assurance, low-key imposter syndrome. Low-key, this movie is empowering. It's funny as hell. Godfrey is in it. It produces one of the best lines ever. I'm not fat, I'm sexy succulent. Right, next film that I watched this year was Tenet. Easily one of the best films released this year, period. I don't care what anyone says with their whole no, all concept, no substance. Okay, miss me with that. Okay, I went and saw Tenet and my bitch ass was enjoying it. Okay, the second is available to rent, my bitch ass will be doing that. The action sequences were sick as hell, and it was also carried by the score. I don't know who did the score. I know Travis Scott did a song for it and it matched. His song was in one of the sequences itself. Very ambitious, very out of this world, like, and I'm just mad that people are like, it doesn't have any substance. And why can't I just be entertained? And guess what I was? I was entertained. John David Washington and Robert Pattinson can catch this body, and I hope they do more films together. Alright, next thing I watch is American Gangster. I don't know why this is a comfort film for me, but it is. I love this film. This film is almost 3 hours long and I choose to watch it. What? I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the drugs, maybe it's the crime, maybe it's watching Idris Elba get shot twice this year, or maybe it's just my man Denzel. Man, my man Denzel. His birthday was just the other day ago. I think it was like a couple days ago. My dude's a Sag. This one's basically about, I forget his name, but Denzel Washington's character is like a very popular drug dealer from the 60s/70s, and it's basically a biopic. Russell Crowe's in it, and his New York accent is kind of sexy low-key. Josh Brolin's also in it too. But yeah, I feel like biopics about crime lobsters, this one's definitely for you. Alrighty, next thing that I watched is Lovecraft Country, which is easily one of the best ambitious projects released in 2020. It's basically mixing sci-fi and a period piece because it's set in the 1950s on the backdrop of race issues. I was here for it, okay? I was here for it. Journey Smollett did her thing. Beautiful. The concept is awesome. I need more black people in sci-fi. I need more black people in that. Like, I'm ready to write it. Like, honestly, I have a movie idea. I just need more black people in sci-fi. That's all I'm saying. The cinematography is beautiful, and again, we need more female showrunners like Misha Green. All right, the next film I watched was Birds of Prey. Again, who said that Birds of Prey was bad? Who said this? Who? Because it was entertaining as hell, okay? And also, Journey Smollett, again, get your role. The action pieces were badass. Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. Like, I don't understand it. And the outfits were really nice, and it was very colorful. So it was very enjoying to watch. The next movie I watched was Happiest Season with, again, my girl K-Stu. Okay, I'm here for the lesbian Christmas movie. I'm here for it, okay? Daniel Levy was cool and funny in this film. He was very funny. Alison Brie was a total bitch, and I kind of liked that. Like, I saw her in another movie this year called Horse Girl, and she actually directed that and wrote it herself. And Horse Girl was Debbie Ryan was in it. Like, that was weird. I wish Aubrey Plaza and K-Stu got together. Like, I don't know. It looked like they had more chemistry, in my opinion. Also, this film made me cry too. Next film, Cleo de Cassette, which is Cleo between 5 and 7. Basically, Agnes Varda is slowly becoming one of my favorite directors, because as someone who has watched a lot of TV and film, I actually don't have a favorite director. I just don't. I just haven't really done a dissection of like a director and watched only their films to make an opinion. But I have seen enough of Agnes Varda. I've seen like 3 out of her 5 films, and I've just known a pattern. I've done discussion posts in a paper over it. And Cleo de Cassette is just an amazing film. I think what I like about it is that, like, this film follows Cleo in real time as she's waiting for a cancer diagnosis. And when I first watched it in my classic French cinema class, I was kind of going through a health scare myself. So it was kind of reassuring to watch someone go through the same feelings that I was going through. So I found this film really relatable. I think it's really nicely shot. It's very like first person. There's a lot of first person shots mixed in with like third person point of view shots. Also, the whole movie is in black and white except for the beginning. It's in color. I think that because I guess like in trying to like make sense of her world, Cleo like only sees in color, but then when they go into black and white, like things are very narrow. Like black, it's like either she gets it or she don't. Like she's not pretty, she's pretty. I think just seeing Cleo as a superficial pop star who's navigating her own life and trying to figure out her purpose and death was really relatable, and I really enjoyed that. Agnes Varda shot this beautifully, and I would love to make a film like inspired by her work. All right, and then the next show that I watch is On My Block season 3. Listen, I love this show. Okay, the cast of characters are wonky, crazy, they got chemistry. Jamal is crazier than ever. Monse becomes her own person. Caesar low-key annoyed me, and Jasmine and Ruby as a couple is something I was happy about, because I'm like, it's gonna happen, just give it time. And I loved what the season ending with them all separate, because then you know, for me, I am a sucker for time jumps, especially in teen fiction shows, because I love like almost every single, like the originals, Vampire Diaries, Pretty Little Liars, On My Block, Teen Wolf, like all these different shows do time jumps, and I love seeing the characters as older characters and just develop into their own people and not be like not being in high school as a personality trait for them. I'm excited for season 4. The last thing that I watched this year was More Law & Order SVU. Okay, at this point, y'all know it's my favorite show. I'm gonna keep referencing it all the time. The episodes are addicting. Olivia Benson is my mom. Elliot can catch his body, and character development has low-key gotten more in depth as the seasons go on, and the cases are just more morally challenging, and I like that. Also, did I mention Olivia Benson? That is what I watched this year. But yeah, so what was your favorite film or TV show from this year? Comment down below. I would love to get more recommendations. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what was in this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you want to be a part of the Grave Gang, don't forget to hit that subscribe button where I post weekly. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you have a great one.